What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me once again. If you're new and you get some value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that little subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so you get notifications whenever new videos come out. I'm trying to do one video a week at least, keep you guys going, keep you informed, keep you educated with whatever education I have. Also, I want to start making this channel a giveaway channel. So as I get things that I don't necessarily want to hold on to, but they're new, they're in good condition, I want to help support the community as far as handing out two-way gear, two-way supplies, anything like that. Whether it's brand new, whether it's used, I wouldn't give away anything I wouldn't use. So if I'm giving it away, it's so that somebody can get some use out of it, and so we can all be armed, educated, and trained. So we've cleared 100 subscribers in such a little time. I think the channel's only been up about a month and a half. So thanks be to God. Thanks to all you guys who have subscribed and have supported the channel. We plan on making this a long-term play and growing it as much as possible. And that's why I also want to do the giveaways to give back to you guys. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Once we hit 500 subscribers, I want to start giving away everything from vests to gears to guns. The higher the channel gets, I'm sure the better the giveaways can get. So go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe, help the channel, help put out two-way content, because the more the government tries to touch it, the more you should support it, the more we should flood the market with your constitutional rights. So share it and do your part. If you can't do your own part, help somebody who is doing that part. So again, thank you guys. We can't do it without you. As you can probably tell by the intro and the thumbnail, we got a good one for you here today. This is one of my personal favorite firearms. This was actually my first AR-15 purchase. So she's got some years on her, but I love this one. I've taken care of it. So let me introduce you to her now. This is the Strike Industries and Primary Arms collaboration called the Sentinel Elite, chambered in 223 Wylde 16-inch barrel. So let's head on down to the tabletop and show you what she's all about. So this is the Sentinel Elite AR-15 rifle. It is a 16-inch rifle chambered in 223 Wylde. This was a project that Primary Arms and Strike Industries got together and joined forces on to do. So considering it is Strike Industries, a lot of the furniture and features you see on here are Strike Industries. Some of them came with it, some of them were put on afterwards. So let's go over it from front to back. It is a mil-spec lower receiver. It is 7075 T6 aluminum. This rifle, move back this way, is a 16-inch barrel. It's chambered in 223 Wylde. For those of you who don't know, when you have a 5.56 barrel, you can shoot 223 out of it. If you have a 223, you shouldn't shoot 5.56 out of it. The 223 Wylde was a hybrid of the two. You can look up the history of it, the locations, but 223 Wylde, you can shoot 5.56 and 223 out of it with no problem. They're interchangeable. That won't give you an issue either way. So we do have a 15-inch handguard going across the top here. Obviously it's M-LOK and not key mod. You can see it's got M-LOK on top. Got M-LOK at the 3, 6, 9, 12 positions. So you got plenty of rail space right there up front. I'll roll in a spec sheet for you guys so you guys can see how the rifle comes straight from the factory. It's got a bunch of other details and features that come with it, but I'm sure you guys are more interested in seeing this version of it. Obviously it's been modified. It's not stock for the most part. So let's go over it front to back. I'll show you exactly what we have here. So here, let me flip this over for you guys. Right here up front, we have this Strike Industries oppressor. Not a lot of people I've seen mention this thing online or even use it on their rifles, but it's a blast forwarding device that fits over your muzzle device. As you can see there, it's got directions on how to take this thing off. It works on a ratcheting system, which I think is really cool. This is from Strike Industries, and I'll show you how you can take that off there. You ratchet the front off. Once you get to the end of your ratcheting, you push down, turn it right over that way, and it comes right off. As you can tell, I leave it on all the time when I go shooting. It's got a bunch of guck and build up there that needs to be cleaned, but it sits right over that. You can shoot this thing as is. It's got a muzzle brake built in with a flash hider. This thing is a nightmare if you shoot it like this, at least for the person next to you. So I always leave it on. It's dedicated for this rifle. You shoot it right on there. You turn it. You keep turning it until it ratchets down. And that thing is super secure. If you leave it on there forever and you don't clean it at all, it will lock up on you a little bit, but that's not a big deal. You just clean it periodically. I mean, I probably clean this thing twice a year, so that's not a big deal there. The muzzle device that is underneath is the Strike J-Comp Gen 2 compensator. So in case anybody wants to know, it has to be compatible with this thing. You can't just throw it on any of them. This thing does come with a Picatinny rail on top. It is an interrupted Picatinny rail, and by that I mean it's got a Picatinny rail section right up in the front, but when it comes to this middle section here, it dips down lower. So if you wanted to bring the scope a little lower, it could come a little lower here and it wouldn't be right up against your Picatinny rail. So that's a little feature there that is not on every rifle, but it is on this one. Coming back to the front side here. So we do have a 15-inch free float handguard. So for those of you who don't know, that means the barrel is sitting in there free floating, just as it says. So there's nothing holding it at any point. That's the gas block you see there, which is not attached to the handguard. So everything in there is free float. It helps with the harmonics. So if you don't know what that means, Google it. I'm not really going to get into it. Not a lot of people really care what that means, but it does mean something. So it's not for no reason. Obviously this is a Strike Industries handguard here. They drop the Picatinny rail in the center. As I said before, it's uninterrupted also because when you grab a hold of this thing, you don't have to put your hand on top of here. Sometimes those Picatinnies can get a little annoying after a while, which is exactly why I put my light here. So I mean, it was good and bad because I had to zip tie that light on there so it would sit. It sits in there good now, but usually this light comes with the Picatinny rail attachment. So I mean, that was useless, especially since I wanted to stick it there. But let's move right on to the light. This is the Streamlight ProTac HLX laser light. So it is a 1000 lumen light. I'm not a huge fan of this anymore. When I first bought it, it was a great light, but considering the size of this thing, it is huge. I mean, I did buy this thing a few years ago, so with the way technology going, it's outdated rather quickly. It is a great light though. It has great features. Just in terms of comparing it to other lights, this is the Odin, and when you put this thing on a rifle, it's much smaller, much thinner. This thing is 2000 lumens. This is my favorite light, and it's so simple. You can use it in your hand. This thing also has a tail cap that you can take off, put on, but it's so big and bulky. When I bought it, it was great. It was top of the line, but the way technology moves, most things don't stand a chance after a couple years. But let's go over this light real quick. It does have a laser built in. So it is mounted on a Picatinny rail there. If you look right there, you got a laser built into there. So you got your LED, is 1000 lumens. You got the protective edge on the front of this thing. If you ever wanted to hit something with it, you can knock somebody over the head with it. There's multiple defensive uses. But it does have a laser built into there, so when you hit your flashlight, it turns right on. But it comes with the tail cap here for being a weapon mounted light that goes right to the pressure switch. The pressure switch has the momentary button, which I see, I'm sure you can't see the laser on camera, but it's dead center there. There you can. And then you also have a permanent turn on button there, so that's good. You also have the strobe option there. At 1000 lumens, that strobe can serve a great purpose in disabling an attacker or whatever the case is. And you got your steady light on for identification purposes. You never want to shoot at something you haven't properly identified. Now this tail cap is cool because it has this feature to where even if this thing was screwed down super tight, you could still move this back end to move and put the cable exactly where you want it, so that it's not a lot of pressure on there and it sneaks into that little cavity there. So your cable's not sticking out. It makes better for snag-free operations. I mean, it's a huge bulky light, so as snag-free as they could make it, they helped out there. You have windage and elevation in here. See these little holes here, one there, one there. You have windage and elevation for your laser, so you can get your laser dead on, you can zero it out. So that's the Streamlight HLX 1000 lumen laser model. Moving right along, obviously these are cheap little cable management M-lock attachments so that you can keep your cable tight to your rifle. We have the BCM foregrip. It's the Mod 3 foregrip. It's M-LOK compatible. They do sell these for key mod as well. So for those of you who still use key mod and don't want to get with the program, they have those for you guys as well. Now moving right along, I put a QD sling swivel mount here. So for those of you who want to attach a sling, you can either go, these are cheap. You can get these things on Amazon. You can get these on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. But if you notice, and I'll bring the sling in here for you now. If you notice here, it comes with a attachment point to the handguard itself. I'll show you here with the sling. So it goes in there just fine. It does the same function. I didn't like it this tight to the back, so I went in and put in my own little attachment here. So you can put a sling swivel option there, or a QD mount there. I also have this little Picatinny rail option here. These you can also get on Amazon. I mean, you can get sets and sets of these things for cheap. These don't have to be brand name. As long as you secure them, use them correctly, mount them correctly, you should have no problem. Moving right along, I did put an extended bolt release here. You can get these anywhere. It doesn't have to be specifically Strike Industries. These are universal mounted options for AR pattern rifles. So you can get those anywhere. I mean, it's not a huge deal whether you get a standard one and smack the crap out of it, or this is more extended for ease of use. No big deal there. To these parts here that you see here that are custom, these actually did come with the rifle. And what you have here down at the bottom is the Fang billet aluminum trigger guard. So it's not built in there. You could actually take this out, switch it out, do whatever you want, but it is removable, as you can see there. And then here you have the flip switch Strike Industries fire selector. So I like this thing. It works really good. It's ambidextrous, so you got it on both sides there. This thing's been great. I didn't see any need to change it. So it works fine, does what it has to do. I mean, they could have put the automatic option here, but they didn't. So I guess we'll talk about that later, but it does what it has to do. Also, moving right along, you see it has the ultra light Strike Industries takedown pins here. You can see them there on both sides. So it's got bigger heads on it. So when you go to take this thing off, it's much easier to grab it, pull onto it when you have to take down your rifle and clean it. If I push the other one from the back side, see there, that makes it much easier to grab, pull there and do what you got to do. Your takedown pin, your swivel pin. So that's great there. We have the Strike Industries dust cover here. I like this one because it came with these little tabs here, which I mean, probably could have done without, but it's a quiet one so that when you pull this back, it doesn't make a lot of noise. It doesn't hit, it keeps it, see there? So that'll hit right there and keeps it from making a lot of noise, which is pretty stupid because you're shooting a loud AR, but just keeps it clean, keeps it from taking dings and dents. So I can appreciate that. And this rifle has been actually very hard to find. I was looking up more stats for it for this video, and you can't find them everywhere. So I'm not sure if they stopped making it, people just stopped selling them, or what the case is, but maybe this is now a collector's item. So I'm gonna take a little extra care of this thing. But you see the Strike Industries logo there. I like that. You see it everywhere. So that's pretty cool. I actually had to put anti-walk pins on this because the pins that came with it, one day I was shooting this thing and the trigger actually came loose because the pins just walked out on me. So no big deal. I immediately went on the website. I got these anti-walk pins through in there. I've never had a problem with it since. They've been in there for over 2 years now. So that has been zero problems for me. See the other side there. So they were super easy to install. I mean, I'm no professional gunsmith. I did that myself. So if I can do it, so can you. Don't be lazy. This is also the Strike Industries magazine catch. So as you can tell, a lot of the parts here are Strike Industries. It came with some, didn't come with others, but I went with it just to keep the same shades of blue. You also have here the Strike Industries forward assist. Believe it or not, the name of it is just Strike Forward Assist. So very technical name. I hope you guys caught that, so I said it slow. You also have the Strike Industries. This is a latchless charging handle. So normally you have a latch here that latches right into that little hole. It didn't come with this. I added this on, but you can always add the latch option if you wanted to. I don't really care for it. They function the same. one less step I got to do, the better. So I did add to it. This didn't come with it. So this is actually a Tribist Enhanced Castle Nut and Extended End Plate version. I believe it's the version 2. As you can tell, you see Strike Industries logo back there, as they do with everything else. I like this model because it comes with the extended castle nut there, but it also comes with sling points there, and all the way around the other side. So more options are always better. So I got that version. It did come with a different one, but I like this, so I switched it out. Last but not least, you have the Strike Industries Advanced Receiver Extension, aka buffer tube. So it is a 6-point buffer tube there. I think it looks nicely. It all looks almost as one piece with this castle nut here, so I like it. It works just like any other buffer tube, except it has a cool logo. So no big deal there. It is ultra light, so it is a little lighter than a standard buffer tube. But I mean, no big deal. It's not going to change the world, but I like it, so that's that. Moving right along to the back side, you have the Magpul rifle stock here. I mean, this thing is just mil spec. It's standard. It's the MOE carbine stock. You can find these anywhere. They're on the Magpul site or anywhere else for about $45, $50. These things are super basic, but everybody uses them. Everybody likes them because they're functional. They do what they have to do. We have the Strike Industries grip here. This is called the Enhanced Pistol Grip. I like this because of the feature that it has down here. It has the plug down here. Since your grip is empty, you can always store stuff down here. I always keep a little baggie with extra ear protection in here, standard ear protection in case I ever forget mine, or if I'm not even at the gun range and have to use this thing in public. I got ear protection there. So I like that. There's a little plug tool there. You can pop that right in there. You can keep extra batteries if you have an optic that takes batteries. You can keep tools in here for adjustments on the fly, anything like that. So obviously it didn't come like this. They have 3 standard versions of this that I'll roll a photo in. They have the 25 degree. This is, I believe, the 20 degree version of it. And then they have a 15 degree version of it, which is a little more vertical, more of a pistol grip style. So I like the middle. And as with every other firearm, I tried to make this thing my own. So I did a standard dot stippling there. And then I put an Old English D in there. As I've already shown you in most of my firearms, I have an Old English D there. I think that covers the bottom of this. Moving right along to the top here, we have the Vortex Crossfire 4-12 by 44 scope on top here. So obviously, as the name implies, you got 4-12 zoomies right on top here, in the words of Hootie Hoo. So you can rotate this thing right over, all the way to 12. You got your adjustment right here on the front, so you can adjust this thing to make the reticle clearer or blurrier. This does have a dead hold BDC reticle. I'll roll in a photo because it's always impossible to catch reticles on camera. But it does have a 1-inch tube here. You got your windage and elevation knobs here. Let me turn this thing around. Your adjustments are quarter MOA adjustments. So that means at 100 yards, every little click on here, it will move a 1/4 inch on the target. So you have your windage and elevation are under here. These are just caps that are covering it. So you take this off. You have your windage there. You have your elevation here. So once you strip these off, obviously you got your windage and elevation there. You turn that thing with a quarter or a screwdriver, long nails, whatever you got handy with you. And once you got it right where you like it, you cover this thing back up and it's good to go. And that way nobody can mess with your measurements there. They remind you in case you forget, 1/4 MOA there, up, down, whichever way you want to go. So in few words, you don't have to memorize it. They keep reminding you about everything. This is a standard scope mount here. I'm not even sure where I got it, so I'm not going to give you a ton of information on that, but it's a standard 1-inch scope. No big deal. You can find those anywhere. I'm pretty sure this was probably a budget option. You can find better ones, and I'm sure you can find worse ones as well. So that's her. That's the rifle. This is the Sentinel Elite, chambered in 223 Wylde. If you have any questions about it, comment down below. I'd be glad to answer whatever questions I can. This is the standard trigger that came with it, so this is nothing special in case anybody was wondering. If anybody's wondering how I did this here, I'm actually shocked that I did it on both sides. I just realized that. But if you want to know how I did this here, I have a video on stippling, standard micro dot stippling on a handguard or on a pistol grip so that you can enhance your grip. But if you want to know how I get these little symbols on here, comment down below. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing something like that. It's a slightly different process, a little more involved, but I like it. I think it comes out better in the end. So let me know if you'd like to see something like that. I'd be glad to make a video on it. But once again, I'll let you see this thing here. This is the Strike Industries Primary Arms Collaboration, also known as the Sentinel Elite. Also, these things you see here, these are just standard little rail covers. I can't even remember the name. They're not brand name. You can buy these by the dozens. They're just little plastic caps you throw on there. They click in, click out. They work great for cable management. You can run cables through there if you had to. I just use it to cover certain parts of the barrel that tend to get hot after shooting for a while. So, I mean, you can get those anywhere. You can buy those on Amazon. Amazon sells a lot of gun parts for those who don't know. As much as they probably hate guns, they don't mind making a buck off of it. The barrel is a 1-in-8 twist. So with that rifling, I've come to realize that this thing likes the heavier bullets. This thing shoots really good. The IMI 77 grain 5.56. This thing shoots it great. Unfortunately, they're not cheap rounds, so she doesn't get to eat as often as she would like, but it shoots it fantastic. You can usually do 1-inch groups at 100 yards. I'll roll in some footage. I've tried other stuff. It doesn't like green tip. It doesn't like 55 grain, but the heavier bullets, it really likes. It loves that stuff. Comes with a enhanced lower parts kit, so it's a little better than the Sentinel version that comes with this. They put a little extra TLC on the inside of this thing. Also, maybe for those who would want to know, it comes with a Strike Mod 1 stock pad. I'll roll in a photo of that. I don't feel like looking for it right now, but obviously I replaced it with this thing. The Mod 1 pad just comes down. So that is it, guys. Let me give you one last look at this thing. This is the Strike Industries 223 Wylde Sentinel Elite collaboration between Strike Industries and Primary Arms. Today's video is probably a little longer than normal because I wanted to make a little bit more of a comprehensive video on that rifle because not a lot of people have it. I don't see many videos of it. So thank you for sticking around to the end. I appreciate you guys. So that's it, guys. That's what I have for you today. Once again, this is the Sentinel Elite 223 Wylde, made by Primary Arms and Strike Industries. The Picatinny rail part that I had on there earlier that I showed you guys, it's because I keep most of the time bipod on here. I use this one to shoot longer distances. That's why I don't mind that this one has bulkier options on there. Obviously, there's a big difference between this and this crowd pleaser right here. This thing is very tiny. This thing is nimble. This thing you can do a ton of things with. Now this one, I'm not exactly going to be going around a house clearing rooms with. This thing is very bulky. I plan on getting a more mid-range AR-15, one that's more of a combat AR-15, that'd be shorter, lighter, but this thing obviously has some weight in it. That's why I don't mind this bulky thing here. Your rifle should have the stuff on it that's according to its purpose, its mission. That's why I have a scope on here. I try to take this thing out to 100 yards or further. I'm not really doing combat drills with this thing. That's why this thing looks like this. It looks like more of a long-range weapon. This thing here, much easier to strap onto you and do what you got to do. The crowd pleaser. If you haven't seen the video on this thing, check it out. It's been the most popular one on the channel to date. So, but this is the little brother to this, as you can tell. There's a lot of resemblance between the two. So that's what I have for you today. My overall impressions of this thing is a dream to shoot. Very little recoil. I'll throw in the buffer tube specifications for you guys if I can find it. If not, it's not a big deal. Take my word for it. But thank you guys for joining me once again. I just want to say thank you to everybody that helped us to get to 100 subscribers. This thing's climbing faster than I thought I would, so thank God. Stick with us. We got a lot more stuff coming. I've been working out a couple of deals behind the scenes with gun shops, armories, things like that. We got some events coming up, which are some like field events where there's going to be a couple different things going on out in open fields with some more professional shooters. So thank you for joining me again, guys. I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you can comment, share, subscribe, push this thing out. Let's overwhelm the algorithm so we can get more 2A content out there. Also, something I want to start doing from here on out, which I think is the most important part of this video, prayer requests. If anybody wants to send prayer requests, I'm more than willing and would be honored to pray for you, your family, your loved ones. Jesus Christ is King. He is God Almighty, and there's nobody that answers prayers other than Him. So if anybody has a prayer request, anything near and dear to their heart, trials, tribulations you're going through, feel free to contact me. allthings5ncoedc@gmail.com. If you don't want to leave it down below, anything that is discussed between us stays between us and the Lord. So if you want me to petition to God for anything on your behalf, please let me know. Out of love, out of care, and out of the best interest for others, I have no problem with that. So once again, get armed, get trained, protect the innocent. I love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one.